All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. As you know, I have been working for a number of years to try to improve access to surety credit for small business by trying to streamline data and try to implement data interoperability. It turned out to be a simple project to help small business that has ballooned up into the realization that data touches just about everything we do, and the efficiencies that I was seeking to do for small business applies to the largest utility scale project. What has happened recently is the DOE has issued a program called the Orange Button, which now seeks to provide a platform for our nation to come together and develop a consensus on data standards and data interoperability as a way to make solar more bankable by basically helping to reduce the risk on the projects and to increase the underwriting capabilities of underwriting financial products, whether it be bank, lending, insurance. So we're part of that group. I've been asked by the one group that won the strategy side, SGIP, to chair the finance group or vice chair the finance group. And on the SunSpec, which has the difficult task of implementing what we try to come up with, I've been asked to lead the surety group. And what we have been recommending is that we try to focus in on what data we can pick as a use case that is very simple, very defined, and allows the highest amount of impact with the least amount of confusion. And so one of the data sets that I thought was the most valuable was something that Matthias and the working group at IEC has been working on called 61724. And this is just simply a solar system performance data set. And what is important about this is that when we try to write financial products on how solar systems are performing, it's obvious that being able to know how it's performing is good. But the problem is there's no one standard for how a solar system performs. So when we try to get a relationship, let's say with a PG&E, who I'm very glad attended today, they have performance measurements as well. And if I'm going to write a financial product that guarantees a financial performance, we need to be on the same page for what that measurement is and what that quantifying is. So the Orange Button is trying to do that. And when you look at data, it's like a sword. You know, it's a double-edged sword. On the top edge of the sword is going to be the data itself. It creates incredible efficiencies, and when people all agree on the same data set and work together, all of us will benefit from that significantly. Well, in the underbelly of that sword is a two-edged sword, is the cyber risk that we all face. And the challenges we face as we start talking about exchanging data between business partners, particularly on a portfolio level. How do we do that safely and securely? So I'm very pleased to introduce some of my people that have offered to come up and just do a panel so that the people that were working on the Orange Button and are working collaboratively to try to solve this have a chance to kind of just have an informal panel discussion. So Al Barkley, with the President's Chairman, Vice Chairman.
I was acting chair. I was acting chair of the President's Infrastructure Advisory Council, which was a guy named Richard Clark's effort to wake the administration up to the cyber threat. And I got that because I was working at NASDAQ at the time, and we were a big target. And so I had the opportunity to dive into the way that the policy, the sort of the friction layer between policy and getting things done on cyber was interesting.
So his background is heavy in the government for how the data and the data came to be. So we are not starting something new. On the backside, as we talk about building the smart grid has been an intense focus of the U.S. government on protecting the smart grid from cyber. And I'll let General Alexander introduce himself and give a little background on what he's done there.
Nothing.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. General Keith Alexander, retired. I had 40 years in the Army. My last 8 years, 8 months was as the director of the National Security Agency and the first commander of U.S. Cyber Command. I'll tell you right up front because all of a sudden I know what springs into everybody's minds. I have a lot of questions. I will tell you it was the greatest honor and privilege to work with our intelligence community and the military in going after terrorist threats and solving cyber problems. And so I think what Dixon's doing here today, setting standards for the future, is where our nation needs to go with the Internet of Things and other parts. So I'll be talking about cybersecurity. After I got out of the government after 40 years, it's kind of interesting. They wanted me to stay, and I was thinking of this Navy guy who stayed forever. And they said, well, you could be like him. And I thought, he died in that job.
Did it start with an R?
Yeah, and they ring over, and I thought, man, do I want to do that? And I thought, my wife looked at me like, are you crazy? And I said, just funny. I got up and started a cybersecurity company, and recently was invited to sit on the President's Commission on Cybersecurity. And it kind of dovetails with what Dixon's doing here. So my bottom line up front for everyone is we have to set standards. We have to have a way of communicating. The Internet of Things is going to force that. And this is a great start on how to do that. So it's an honor and privilege to be here, and I look forward to talking with all of you.
I always joke that I am unconstrained by reality because I just want things to do it. It just makes simple sense to me. The challenge is actually getting it done. And the person who's going to bear the burden on that, on the orange button, is Tim. And Tim, you introduce yourself and describe a little bit about your role with the orange button.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Dixon. Thanks for all the folks coming to see us this morning. I'm very lucky to be here this morning, and yeah, Dixon has been bothering me for 3 years on generating standards because he knew that that's what SunSpec was working on. SunSpec was founded in 2009 as IT meets distributed energy, and it was founded to actually make it easier to drive distributed energy assets with data and information model standards. So when Dixon met us, he said, "You are the guys who need to take this to the next level." And so, well, that's what we've been trying to do for years. SunSpec has about 70 members. Companies supply Solar City, SunPower, First Solar, equipment suppliers like SMA, Taguchi, mostly inverter companies, SolarEdge, and so forth, and then battery companies, and then companies building software on top of it. What are we trying to do? Make information models and standards so it's easy to exchange data and control. So we've been doing most of the Rule 21 smart inverter testing, first implementation for the state of California through grants. We have, as I said, about 70 members. Anyone here could be a member, and we invite you to join, if not directly, use our standards, which are available on our website, sunspec.org. So I was asked to join SunSpec a couple of years ago to help bring the financial community in. I was doing consulting for NREL on securitization of solar assets, because I had spent 5 years doing structured finance and de-risking solar power projects. So I joined, and we've been working with folks like Wells Fargo and so forth. And last year, we didn't need much encouragement, but Dixon actually called us up and said, "You guys, you're getting on this orange button thing." It wasn't called orange button, it was called solar bankability data, aren't you? And he said, "Oh, yeah, we've been working like around the clock for a week on our proposal." I said, "Well, go for it." And we did. So what SunSpec rolled in this DOE project called Orange Button is to set up the taxonomy and the APIs, the application programming interface, between all elements of the data set in and around distributed energy assets. So we'll have not only solar but also storage, because we think that completes the picture. From origination of a plant to recycling, and from the financial, technical, and operations description, and the business and performance description of the plant. And we're not going to develop a lot of new standards. What we're going to do is codify and put together these things like Matthias Heinz from TÜV, Joe Cunningham, and others have been working on for years on these standards, and both members, by the way, of SunSpec, and actually pioneers in their own way. Matthias is working on a project called IUCRE that is actually standardized certification of plants, so that surety folks will know that they got a description of the plant. So everything about data, everything about moving the data back, because this will not only drive down cost, remove risk, and increase security, because it will be a self-consistent data set that then we can add cybersecurity validation and to it. So that's what SunSpec's doing. We invite you to join. And since I was lucky project, I was lucky enough to be invited here amongst all these leaders.
Yeah, and then lastly, as you know, I'm trying to herd cats, and one of the biggest challenges everybody says is frankly the cost of getting something done. And also, it's very difficult because when anybody on the private side, and certainly somebody like Wells Fargo tries to do something, it's proprietary, and that makes it very challenging. So one of the things we've been working hard on, and I've been advocating for, is for all of us to really use our incredible resource in our universities as a neutral platform, as an educational experience, and to work with the universities as they look to educate themselves on how systems work and what data analytics might look like. And so in that regard, I've asked Jerry Height from California State University, Chico, to come down. Jerry, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, happy to be here, and happy to be sitting amongst this esteemed panel. I certainly don't hold any street cred like they hold. This is a perfect project for Chico State to be involved with. I've been involved with Dixon since 2004 on this thing. It's applied, it's not theoretical, it's in our wheelhouse, it's what we do best. We also see our role as a dissemination point. We have the largest construction management program in the state of California. We have a very active mechatronic and mechanical engineering program that's heavily involved in solar applications, applied research, efficiency, optimization kinds of issues. And connecting these data sets is a great project to join our computer science expertise. For 2 decades, we had the largest computer science program in the state of California as well. So again, there's a lot of touch points that this project brings to bear. Just by way of background, I'm the former assistant dean of both the business college and the engineering college at Chico State. I'm a 30-year guy there, so I've seen the landscape for a long time. Again, this is a great thing for students to be involved in. It provides them, we're hoping that it provides them an economic compensation at what they're capturing at Starbucks or McDonald's or whatever, but this is going to provide them with meaningful experiences that they can put on their resume. So from that context, it's a huge value add for us to be involved, and we think Dixon has an alum for bringing this to us.